We'll be going over IRS Notice CP111. So this is a tax notice that you might receive from the Internal Revenue Service if there was a math error in your Form 940 that resulted in a tax refund. So let's take a quick look at your Form 940. If you're an employer, this is your annual federal unemployment tax return. So if you made a mistake on this that the IRS makes a correction to, and the correction results in a tax refund, then you might receive CP111 as a tax notice. So before we go through the notice, I'm going to highlight a couple of areas at the top of the form. Let's start with the upper right-hand corner, where you see the notice number, CP111, followed by the tax period. This is the tax period ending December 31st, 2016, and the notice date is January 8th, 2018. So I always encourage people to pay particularly close attention to the notice date, because if there is an action that you're supposed to take, then you should see somewhere in the notice a due date that might be tied to your notice date. In this case, not necessarily. However, I have seen notices that say things like, if you disagree with this, please contact the IRS within 10 days, within 30 days, within 60 days of the notice date. So always keep that in mind when you're going through this notice, and then through the rest of the notice, just pay attention to see if there are any deadlines associated with that notice date. So below that is the employer ID number, because this is an employer tax return, a business of some sort, not an individual tax return, followed by a phone number for you to contact the IRS for any follow-up or questions. Over here on the left-hand side is the name and address of the taxpayer in question. So I always advise people to make sure that your address is up to date in the IRS records. The simplest way to do that is by filing your annual tax return. For example, if you had just filed this Form 940 and then with your new address, then the IRS should pick that up and update your tax record accordingly. If they have not, or if you've recently changed and you're not due to file your tax return in the near future, then I suggest you either call the IRS to change your address over the phone, or you can file for individuals. It would be IRS Form 8822. For businesses, it's IRS Form 8822-B. Either way, that's the official change of address form. So we'll put links in the show notes to resources we've created about those forms. Let's get down to the meat of this IRS notice. So over here on the left-hand side is a brief summary. The IRS believes that there are miscalculations on your Form 940, which affects credit computation. We made changes to your tax return, and as a result, your refund is $3,214.43. And then here's a breakdown of everything, your payments, your tax payments, the tax that you owe, plus a failure to file penalty and interest charges. So let's take a look. If you agree with the changes, then you'll receive a refund check. If you have not, then you can follow up with the IRS by filing IRS Form 3911. So we'll put links in the show notes to that. If your tax refund was offset by other debts, then the IRS does have the obligation to do that. So that any tax refund offsets are not reflected in this statement. Let's see, contact information. If you want to send correspondence to the IRS, you can cut this this bottom slip off the bottom of page 1 and make sure that your correspondence has this requested information, your employer ID number, tax period, and your form number. So if you don't agree with the changes, contact the IRS Again, there's no timeline here on this notice. I have seen similar notices in the past with a 60-day due date, but you might want to call the phone number just to clarify how much time you have. So let's see, tax calculations. There's a breakdown of the tax credits and payments. So there was an adjustment to your tax for excluded unemployment wages or late state tax payments. So the total tax was $12,938.91. Total deposits $16,428.77. So this is a breakdown of your tax deposits, where it shows, all the different tax deposits that were made during the 2016 tax year. There's a failure to file penalty. I'm not sure how the IRS assessed that. It doesn't say that here specifically. My question is a 5%, for a late payment, but if you were overpaid, you overpaid the tax, then I'm not exactly sure what this $99 represents. So that's not clear here. That might be something that you contact the IRS for. You can request abatement of any penalties, and that might be a situation where I would request an abatement using Form 843, which we'll put a link to in the show notes in our resources. There's also interest on this amount due that was due on 12/31/2016. Again, I'm not exactly, this is an example. It doesn't seem like this is something you would see in a real setting. If you're due a refund, I've never seen someone that's owed a refund and also is required to pay interest unless for some reason they owe prior taxes for a previous tax period. But that does not look like it's the case here. So I'm not exactly sure how this interest was calculated, nor where this $2,004 came from. I don't see anything up here related to that. So at the bottom, there's some additional information about what happens if there's interest charges, if your balance is above a certain amount. And then there's additional resources that you can reach out to. You can click this link right here, which we'll do it just a second. Let's see what that says. Your CP111 notice. You can have your accountant or someone else represent you in front of the IRS. If you don't feel like doing this, you would complete and send a copy of Form 2848, which is the official power of attorney form. You can put links, or we'll put links in the show notes to that, but you can go through these frequently asked questions to see if there's any additional information. But I think this video, we kind of covered everything that this notice, that pertains to this notice. So if you like our articles, please subscribe to our newsletter. If you like our YouTube videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you have any questions or comments, or if there's a topic that you'd like to see discussed in an upcoming video, please hit me up in the comments section. Thank you very much and have a great day.